most reliable player brought to you by Xfinity. And to help us do that is Andraya Carter. Let's hear it for Andraya Carter, everybody. How about that ovation, huh?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You stole my sun joke. I was going to say the sun came out when I got here, but Caitlin's better. It's fine, it's fine.
Well, let's talk about who Caitlin's going to be going up against tonight, and that would be the UConn Huskies. Look, Paige Bueckers has lived up to the nickname, right?
Yeah.
She's putting up 28 points per game combined between the Big East tournament and the NCAA tournament so far. That's up from about 21 points per game in the regular season. I think it's actually the biggest jump of any player from the regular season through the first 4 games of the NCAA tournament so far. So, Dre, how has she been able to take that next step and be that next level scorer for her team in March?
I think Paige has finally realized that at least every time she touches the ball, she has to look to score. She has to think score and have that scoring mindset. At times, Paige, she's so good at finding her teammates. She's so good at playing with others. But her just looking to score and being aggressive creates more for her teammates. So I think once that clicked for Paige, she really learned how to kind of walk the fine line between doing too much and taking over. And at times, they have simply needed her to take over because she's just that good.
Yeah, and it seems like Gino had been pushing her the whole time, like, look for your shot, look for your shot. And now, I mean, averaging 28 points per game, she's looking for a shot. Andraya, one thing that the people may not know about you that I happen to know because I called your games at Tennessee, you were an outstanding defender, scrappy, tenacious. I mean, you risk your body on the defensive end to get a stop. So I want you to put your defensive hat on. How would you slow down Paige Bueckers? How would you slow down Caitlin Clark? Give us just a quick and dirty answer to that from the guard. We want to see the guard defense, right?
You know, I think from a guard perspective, you have to think about dictating. And so you have to think about pushing them one way, but then jumping to push them the other way, right? If my hands are high, then you want them to dribble, so now I'm going to go back low, right? And so just really trying to make the offensive player react to you. Now, it's so hard because they're so good. Like, that's the thing about Caitlin and Paige is they end up manipulating the defense. There aren't many defenders that can actually force them into doing anything. So I think in that case, you got to be super reactive. Like, if you see Paige go one way, you got to jump that way. But then they're so good at counters. It's almost like boxing. You know I love boxing.
You do.
So you got to think, though, with the great players, you got to think one step ahead because if she gets you to lean right, you have to know, okay, now she's probably going to go left.
Yes.
And if you can jump that and beat her to that next move, but it's really hard because you got a lot going on. You got to think, I'm thinking about her next move, but somebody's probably coming to set a screen. Somebody's probably yelling that there's no help on the backside.
It's a lie.
There's so much going on in your mind, but if you could think one step ahead to what they're probably going to do, you'll be in a slightly better position.
As much as we don't want to pit Paige and Caitlin against each other in this game, I mean, that's what it's going to be. It's a Paige and Caitlin show. So with that being said, I know you've already answered this question on the El Duncan podcast, but LaChina, I'll start with you. Would you rather have Paige or Caitlin in this game?
Ooh, boy. That's a toughie. That's a toughie. You know, did you answer this already?
I'm not telling you, and I'm not
She
helping
answered
you.
it on the podcast. She did answer it. Man, let me just give you my background first,
Fair.
okay? This is
You know what we call
my
this?
answer.
Tiptoeing. We call this tiptoeing around the question.
My answer is not about either one of their skills or who I think is the better player. I have been truly inspired by the resilience of Paige Bueckers.
Yeah.
Her story and what she's had to fight back from injuries. I mean, imagine being at the mountaintop and then getting to Connecticut and experiencing injuries that could have derailed her career. Not even just the physical aspect, but the mental aspect of what it takes to come back from something like that. I mean, I am truly in awe of what we're seeing on the court from her right now, playing at the highest level. So, because I love a good story, I'm a storyteller myself, a great ending for Paige Bueckers would be, obviously, to win the national championship. I don't know if they can beat South Carolina, but to take down Caitlin Clark in Iowa would just be an incredible part of her story.
So when I answered this question, it was kind of like, who would you build a team around?
Okay,
is that
fair.
what you were asking me? Or are you asking, like, who do you think is going to have success?
Who would you rather have in this game? If you were UConn or you were Iowa, would you rather have Paige or Caitlin?
Well, if I'm Iowa, in this situation, Caitlin is the perfect player to have.
Fair.
Because not only is she so great at scoring, but she is so great at putting the defense out of position. And what happens when you're the defender and you're out of position? You foul. What can UConn not afford to do more than anything else in this game? They can't afford to foul. So having Caitlin out there on the floor for Iowa is perfect because she's so good at that. Now, having Paige for UConn is also perfect because she's so versatile. So when I talked about if I were building a team like from scratch and I wanted to start with one of those two players, I would pick Paige because of the versatility. If the three-pointer isn't falling, she's got the mid-range game. She has the back-to-the-basket game. She has the finishes at the rim. She has a little more defensive instincts on that side of the floor. So when you think about having an off night, I think a player that's a little more versatile can recover from those type of things.
You talk about tiptoeing. You started with Caitlin, backed into Paige. I mean, she just basically, you know what I'm saying?
He asked about this matchup, and then I got myself.
Right. No, you're right.
I didn't even need a retee. I didn't need a retee.
You get paid good money to talk, so and you do it well.
I sure do.
The best part about it is there's no wrong answer. They're both Player of the Year award winners, and they're both going to be battling it out tonight. A lot of unknowns going into the Final Four here tonight. We will have answers like what Dawn